you can officially start playing Warhammer 40k 10th edition. Plus, we're going to be taking a look at a new action figure, a new miniature, as well as some new cards that all have me very excited. All this and more in this week's Hobby News. I'm Angela, you're watching Hobby Night. Now let's get to this. Rejoice, everyone, because now we can officially start playing Warhammer 40k 10th edition. Because Games Workshop has officially released all of the points for all of the units in the new edition through the Minotaurum Fueled Manual, as you can see here. Now, there are some big changes if you go ahead and take a look at this particular document, and I wanted to talk about some of those changes with you today, because in particular, there is a change to unit sizes. Before, when you were building a unit, you just pick each individual person and put them into that unit. Well, that is not the way that it works now. Now, instead, you're going to be buying them in increments rather than individually. So, for example, as a Death Guard player, if I wanted to bring a unit of Poxwalkers to the field, I can either buy them in a group of 10 or a group of 20. Sometimes you might be buying them in either groups of 5 or 10, or some other variation thereof. It really depends on the unit, but it's specific to those units. And this is something that we see in Age of Sigmar already, so for those of you that maybe play both, this should come as no surprise, but it is something new to Warhammer 40k. In addition to some other changes that we're seeing, we're also going to talk about Wargear, because Wargear is totally free, and this is also something that Age of Sigmar does that Warhammer 40k 10th edition is borrowing. So no longer do you have to worry about keeping extra points around to be able to fit out your guys with specific gear or anything like that. It's all already folded into the unit's cost, and you can just take whatever you want, which I think is really nice because over the years, especially if you've been collecting for a really long time, you maybe have some models that have some sort of weird builds because there were some interesting things you could do back then that stopped being viable in more recent editions. And now you can kind of just bring with it whatever because it doesn't cost you anything extra, and it gives you a lot more flexibility to play with those models if you are wanting to. So I think that's actually pretty cool. Now, additionally, the one final thing that I want to note is they've also released a rules commentary version 1.0, which you can download, and this provides additional rules for the game, which I think is a little bit funny because they did say that the core rules were only going to be 5 or so pages, and then the only other rules that you'd really have to pay attention to were the ones specific to your faction. Well, now there's like 18 more pages of rules, and these are mostly clarifications, things like some orders of operations clarifications, priority operation, or priority of rules being used clarification, those kinds of things. But it's still a little bit silly that they are really focusing on making a big deal about how 10th edition is supposed to be really simplified, a lot easier to jump into, and they're immediately already putting out a rather lengthy compendium to the rules that add additional things. And I don't know. Let me know what you think about it down below, but otherwise, if you've been waiting to get playing this new edition of Warhammer 40k, there's nothing stopping you now. The rules are out for free, the data cards are all out for free, and now you know exactly what everything is costing. And I know some of you have actually been playing 40k, because as soon as this came out, I started getting messages from people saying, oh my gosh, I played my first game of Warhammer 40k 10th edition today. Have you tried it yet? And no, I have not actually tried it yet myself, but I have been looking through things, and I definitely like some of the changes I'm seeing. And I also am like, these extra rules are kind of annoying to have to pay attention to, but you know what? It's there. Hopefully there won't be more. I think it is really awesome that we finally have the ability to play this game before Leviathan is even out. Hey guys, I just wanted to jump into the video real quick to remind you to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications so that you never miss any of the hobby content that we make here on the channel. Sticking with the theme of Warhammer 40k 10th edition, I want to just talk about how gorgeous the limited edition cover for the rulebook actually is. Now, this is the slip cover that goes over top of it, and you can see the Emperor sitting there on his golden throne, and that is simply a poster inside that you get with it, because look at the cover of this book, and honestly, both of the books. They are gorgeous. Now, there's no surprise here that these are gorgeous covers because they are reusing some art from John Blanche, he's just an amazing artist who's worked on Warhammer 40k and I think even like Warhammer Fantasy for ages. And so the fact that we get to see some of his art back or being very reminiscent of it is absolutely stunning. I just love the look of this book. And I have a question for those of you that do actually go out of your way to collect these limited edition versions of the books. I've only ever gotten my hands on like 1 or 2 of the limited edition codexes, but I've never picked up any of the books that are quite this fancy. And I want to know, when you get that book, do you actually end up using it? Or do you just end up having it be a collector's piece that sits on your shelf that you can pull out for like clout and just to look at because it's gorgeous? Or are you actually bringing it to like your local game store and using it as your rules reference when you're playing your edition that it's relevant to? Because for me personally, I don't think I could actually go to a store and play with it, because the idea of that, the anxiety that it would cause me to think that something might happen to the book in the process of me using it in that brief period of time and then bringing it home is astronomical. And I'm not even worried about other people damaging it. I'm worried about me damaging it. I am such a klutz, I would end up scraping it or like ripping a page or spilling a drink on it or like smudging like greasy fingers on it because I forgot to wipe my hands or something after eating fries or something. That would be what I'd be worried about. So please let me know, if you were to pick up this absolutely gorgeous book, would you take it to a game store and actually use it? My friends over at Joytoy have a brand new miniature, well, I guess action figure technically, coming out, and I figured we'd watch the trailer together and see exactly what it is. Oh my gosh, Helbrecth, oh my God. The detail. I really love his backpack. Like, his jump pack looks amazing. Okay, hold on, we have to go back in there. We have to go back in there and look at him because this boy is absolutely beautiful. And he looks like he actually might be a little bit shorter than the Adeptus Custodes, which I think is technically appropriate. But oh my God, I love the armor. I love the black and red designs. I love all the detail work for all the crosses and basically all of like the text on the tabards and everything. Let's see if we can put this back on and have him spin a little bit more. Yeah, like look at that. I mean, it's just kind of squiggles or whatever. It's not actual text specifically, I don't think, but the idea of it, I love everything about this action figure. Joytoy consistently does a really good job with their toys. I have talked about this dozens and dozens of times. I also work with them because they've sent me stuff in the past and I've unboxed it and revealed it for you guys. I even did one recently on some Custodians as well as Sisters of Battle. And frankly, Joytoy, if you want to send me Helbrecth, I will totally unbox him live on my channel. And that would be really cool. So hit me up, please, in my chat. I think this is amazing. I hope you guys really like looking at these with me because honestly, I just think they're really, really cool. He just looks stunning and I can't wait to see how many of his accessories like can come off and be put on other people and vice versa, because they have a whole line of Black Templar models and they all look really, really cool. We're going to move over to Age of Sigmar now because we have another trailer to watch, but this time it's featuring a gorgeous new miniature. Let's take a look. Oh, I'd only seen pictures of it, but seeing it in motion is super cool. Let me see the miniature. Games Workshop, there we go. I genuinely love it. Like, this is such a cool looking model. And I want multiple of them because I have some ideas for different designs. That looks really cool. That looks really cool. So I have said this a couple times as we've been continuing to get more and more from the Cities of Sigmar line for Age of Sigmar. They are doing an exceptional job with how they're handling this line going forward, and it continues to make me very optimistic for everything that we're going to be seeing coming out of the old world in the future, because this is basically, I feel like, them getting back into the old world when it comes to Age of Sigmar. I just think everything about this is really cool. The shield looks amazing. Do we have another like close? No, we don't have a closer look. The shield looks amazing. I love the sort of wrought iron look at the top. I absolutely love the crow's nest with the human on top. I also really enjoy the fact that this is a mix of an ogre and, or I think that's what they're called. Yeah, an ogre and a human together for Cities of Sigmar. Works perfectly, and it's very reminiscent of what you see happen with the Imperial Guard, where you have the Ogrin as well as the Imperial Guardsmen mixed in. And I just like that scale. Like, I am all about scale in my games, and this adds some height to this army, as well as just putting two different figures in there who are going to be different sizes and scales and putting them together. I love everything about this. I want to see more of them in the future. Please keep giving these to me, Games Workshop. Last, but certainly not least, I want to talk about an upcoming set for Pokemon called Scarlet and Violet 151. It's a special set, and it is focused entirely on the OG 151 Pokemon, which is my era of Pokemon. That is when I got into Pokemon for the first time. And oh my gosh, the cards in this set already look gorgeous. We're just gonna look through a couple of them here, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the sets, because one of the things that I think they're doing very interesting in this set that I have not specifically seen them call out previously is they're actually having the same artist work on the evolution of a Pokemon on each of the cards. So basically, this artist would do the Bulbasaur, the Ivysaur, and the Venusaur art, and that way it's cohesive. And I think that is really cool. In fact, here, we can take a look at it right here. So here's the Bulbasaur, and then we go to this absolutely adorable Ivysaur that is clearly the same artist working on it. And then finally, we go into an awesome EX version of the Venusaur, but it still has that same artist vibe. And I think this is really cool because for me personally, as a Pokemon fan, or just as a card collector fan, one of the things that does kind of bother me a little bit is when they have a different style for each different version of the evolutionary stage of a Pokemon. Like, on one hand, it's kind of cool because you're featuring a bunch of different art styles, but on the other side of me really likes the cohesiveness of it all being represented by one person's art style. So the fact that they're doing this in this set delights me. Look at this Charmander. Look at the Charmeleon. I love him. He's so good. And then, of course, we have a brilliant looking Squirtle, a gorgeous looking Mew, and there's a bunch of other cards too. We have some of these really beautiful full art, like decorative ones. I love this one of Charmander. We also have this super cute one of Bulbasaur, and of course they're going to do one for Squirtle as well. I just don't think they've shared that. We do have a variety of different products coming out for this particular set. So it's going to have over 160 cards in it. It is going to have 12 new EXs, some of which we saw, like with this Ivysaur and with the Mew. Let's get back to the Mew, because this Mew card looks so good. And it's going to have more than 10 trainer cards, which I thought was an interesting call out, but I do know the trainer cards can be very, very valuable to players of the game. So I'm not surprised that they're having an emphasis specifically on that. I've already talked about how they're going to be having illustrations featuring a single artist capturing the entire evolution chain of a Pokemon, which again, I just really, really love. And this might end up being a set that I end up having to get back into. Now, this set is going to be releasing predominantly, it seems like, September 22nd, although there is one particular product down here at the bottom. Let's see, I believe it is this Ultra Premium Collection, which appears to be coming out October 6th, but everything else seems to be coming out around September 22nd, which is when the bulk release is going to be. So there's going to be booster packs for this. There's going to be, of course, a Pokemon, oh, what do they call them? The fat packs, but that's not what they call them for Pokemon. Oh, what is it called? I don't remember what they actually call these. Oh, the Elite Trainer boxes. There we go. I was like, I know it's in this article. I'm just not finding it. So there's the Elite Trainer boxes. There's, of course, your booster packs. They're going to have some special sets like these ones down here, which come with like 3 cards in them, along with some packs, for example. This picture right here, let's see if we can blow it up. So I believe this is a lot of the art we're going to be seeing in the set. And you can understand why I personally am absolutely loving it. It's bright, it's colorful, it's bold and beautiful. I love the cohesion of the art style amongst everything. Even though they're obviously using a couple of different artists, there's still a really nice cohesiveness to it. And just look at this Ghastly, this Haunter, and this Gengar. Like, I know they're really small, you're gonna have to lean in and look at them, but like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait. I'm definitely going to be picking up some of this set in September when it actually releases, because there's no way I can't not get some of these absolutely stunning Pokemon cards. All right, and that has been it for this week in hobby news. Do let me know down in the comments whether or not you have already started playing Warhammer 40k 10th edition, or if you're waiting until you actually get your hands on the box Leviathan. In the meantime, I do want to give a huge thank you to my patrons for making it so content like this can continue to happen. Without your guys' support, we would not be doing this, so thank you very, very much. I have been Angela, and I hope you have a wonderful hobby night.